Well, hey everybody, it looks like I'm early to my own party for a change. Let's see if I went live. There is something going live. Nice. That would be the super. I gotta go deal with him real quick. Okay. Nice. That would be a super. I gotta go deal with him real quick. You take out the other one. Now will be fine. Coffee. Not doing this without coffee. Does it look like it's working at all, Brett?
Well, you got one guy.
Who?
Some person, I have no idea.
Alright.
You got one guy. Some person, I have no idea.
Alright. Let's, I just spilled some coffee. Okay then. Maybe I need to clean that up. Yeah. I'm gonna have to mute my live broadcast over here. Using this just to connect with everyone. Everyone. How does this work? Everyone! Okay, before I start rolling around in coffee, I'm gonna go get a paper towel. Decided to just grab the whole roll because knowing me, coffee is going to spill more than once. So, yeah. That's why I wear the black pants. Wow, I'm watching feedback on loop of me cleaning a rug with the muscle hoodie. So, yeah, I don't know who's in here yet. Does it tell me? How does this work? Oh, hi, Becca. Click. I haven't used my laptop in forever. Does it say we've got anybody on IG?
Yeah, Josh, Wendy.
Oh, really?
And someone called Serena Sheldon.
Oh yeah, hi Christian. Just for any of you on IG, definitely keep it going because it'll help alert other people that we're doing this thing. But you know, if you have a desktop or something and you want to check in on Facebook, just to kind of populate that conversation. Mostly also just because the framing on Facebook is better. I kind of forgot that IG really just does its nice big vertical slice. But the Facebook framing if you can see it, is really more of what we were intending. Starting tomorrow or whenever we do the next video, we'll probably switch over to Facebook on the phone and IG on another phone if we can. But, you know, hi Becca. Oh my gosh, this is so weird. It's great though. We're not rushing into anything. I'm sitting here with a cup of coffee. Oh, thanks Wendy, thank you for joining. Not rushing into anything. Sitting here with my cup of coffee. It's going to need to be refreshed every once in a while, but I'm not going to be like sending Brett to go get me coffee or anything. Brett's here too. Say hi, Brett.
Hello, guys.
Hello. Brett's our producer. He makes sure that everything works, and so that I don't lose my marbles first thing in the morning.
Matt Jones here.
Oh, hey Matt. Wow, long time no see, buddy. Let me grab my notebook. So, you know, before we get into anything physical, you know, this is a morning routine video. This isn't some sort of big hardcore workout program. This isn't some let me wake you up with the warrior mindset sort of thing. This is literally come chill with me, take it easy for an hour, if it goes for an hour, and really just kind of let yourself loosen up and wake up naturally. We're not here this morning to push you out of bed, to kick your butt. There might be some motivational stuff going on, but it's not at all this cringy, like, let me drill sergeant you out of bed sort of mentality. What we really want to focus on is just waking up healthy, with a clear head, you know, not necessarily even first thing in the morning. I've been up since 7:30 and I've just been doing my own personal thing. Like, I took a shower, I took my vitamins, I drank some water. I'm not trying to. We all have a lot of free time right now. And what that means is that we finally have a chance really to go a little bit slower than we're probably used to. For the last several months, one of the things that's been making my life a lot easier has been waking up earlier, scheduling my clients a little bit later. I don't usually take my first client until 11 a.m. so that I would have the first couple of hours of the morning just to decompress. I'm the kind of guy that I will work on whatever I'm working on until right before I go to bed, and that is probably not the best plan ever either, but what it means is that when I wake up in the morning, I need to just re-expand. I need to open up and I need to chill. I need to get into a routine that allows me to start circulating. My energy's been stagnant from sleeping. I have a lot of really high-end weird dreams, and sometimes I need to shake myself out of them. So if I give myself that hour to move around or do some of the exercises that I'm going to do today, it really lets me settle back into the day and just be more energized going forward. And the main thing that I want to tell you is that there have been plenty of times, there have been plenty of gaps in this behavior where I have stopped for a few days at a time, or I've stopped for a week at a time, and I felt a huge difference. I would wake up and I wouldn't know what to do with my day at all. So I don't want to get too preachy on the whole morning routine thing as a thing, but my point is that I'm empirical evidence in front of you that if you have depression issues or scheduling issues or procrastination issues, how you do the first thing in the morning is going to really affect the rest of your day. So one of the things that I have here is I have my notebook, and no one has to do anything that I'm doing, by the way. You can totally watch this, sit down, play video games, read a book, if you like the sound of my voice, which I don't know who really does, but you know, maybe some people would say I do. But You can come in and out of it. You can stop it, start it. You don't have to watch it at all. Of course, I'm just saying if you're already here joining me, it's lovely to have you. But I'm going to be going through my stuff, and if you'd like to try any of it, you can. Live video interrupted on Facebook. Coming back. We're going to try to ignore that as much as we can. It seems like it's interrupted on there, not over there, so. Let me try and just ignore that, Brett. Make sure I just don't worry about it. My point is that what I'm going to be going through in some of these steps are just things that I do that you can join in on, that you can try for yourself. Obviously, you can find all these tips on every single life coaching, meditation website known to man, but some of it works for me. As with everything in SAGA Action Arts, it has nothing to do with you trying to be like me. It has you trying to be like you. So I'm not here to tell you what I do so that you copy me. I'm here to tell you that I do stuff so that you can find what works for you as well. So step one for me is, I've got my Panda Planner journal. It's a shout out to them, I guess. I really like this journal. It's not overly complicated. It's not stressful in the sense, someone commenting? No, okay, great. It's not overly stressful in the sense that it tells you that you have to do this and you have to do that. It's pretty open source. It's pretty open forum. So at the top of it is just a box in the morning that says, I'm grateful for 3 things. And the hardest thing for me sometimes is getting all 3, at which point you just got to write down either your health, which is a good thing to have right now, or having a home, or not going to bed hungry. But for me, obviously today, in my little Mr. Rogers tone, I'm grateful for running this with you guys who are here with me. So I'm grateful for people sticking with me and my morning routine. I'm saying sticking with me because I don't think this is going to be day 1 of 1. I think that I want to do this more often. And as we keep going through this, we're going to cut to the chase a little bit more, obviously, over time. But anybody that's ever trained with me knows that if I do a first thing, I'm always going to have a big intro session. So. Grateful for number 2, regardless of the fact that we're all kind of locked in our roles right now, I know that I'm really grateful and lucky to be locked in Brooklyn with some of my friends. I'm not in the suburbs in DC where I can't get a lot of stuff done. I'm locked in with this cool studio. I have this opportunity, so being in the right place at the right time. Right place at the right time. And then number 3, I'm healthy. I'm healthy and I'm going to get to share that with all of you guys. I'm going to get to share that I am working on me, and that means that you guys get to try and work on you. So healthy and able to share it. Healthy and able to share it. Then they have a section that says 3 things I'm excited about. I don't want this to take forever, so I'm just going to kind of go through that. Obviously, I'm excited about episode 1 of this. I'll write it down later. I'm really excited that after this today, we're going to have a couple more sessions. There's a pitch for y'all to join me. And I'm definitely really excited that I don't feel the pressures of all the other things that I could be doing with my life right now had the world not just gone topsy-turvy. Being a stunt performer is a wonderful job, but many of you know that I've expressed that sometimes it's a little bit stressful because the jobs come in and out at complete random. That's part of the reason why they pay us so much, is because we have to be ready to go whenever we go. But it's almost like I have an unpaid vacation right now from worrying about whether or not those jobs are ever going to come in. I have the opportunity to just let everything simmer down and make my life my life. So the first thing I'm excited about, I think, was what Brett was like, that this is episode 1 and we're getting this going. Yeah, 2, was that just 2? I said I would remember this later and I can't even remember it 30 seconds later, but 2 is that I know I'm not going to be stopped by work, or maybe that was 3, I don't know. But 3 is that I'm actually excited that I'm excited. Sometimes the best way to understand a feeling is to think about how you feel about a feeling. If you're mad, I know this is going into my deep Mr. Rogers territory, but if you're mad, sometimes the best way to investigate that is to just go, how do I feel about being mad? Like, do I want to be? Should I be? Is this the right time? So if I'm feeling excited, and believe me, I'm also very anxious right now because I just want all this to work, but I'm trying to go through it. And literally, one of Brett's jobs being in that corner is to make sure that I don't like stop and stare over everything every 5 seconds. He's kind of like my looming bodyguard of my own perfectionism. It's kind of what you do on my film sets too. Yeah, I feel excited about being excited, especially as somebody that's, recently kind of come out on the internet a lot about depression and self-doubt issues. It's just really nice to be excited. That can cause some anxiety sometimes too, because sometimes I get afraid that I'm going to lose that excitement. But for now, I'm excited about being excited. So thank you for joining me. The last thing that we have in the Panic Planner journal in the morning, like write your stuff down sort of thing, is an affirmation. I've Googled the word affirmation. I've Googled what it means. I've talked with Craig Stanlin over at Love Fitness, who's an amazing TED Talk speaker. And he's a guy that's working on his motivational and kind of life coaching sort of style as well. All I know is that when you write an affirmation, you usually want to write an I am statement or I can statement, or, it is one of those you get to be selfish and kind of start from the center and work your way out. A lot of times I write something like, I can be a hero. And I know that sounds silly and that's part of our business, but I really want to do it. And Christian, if you're watching, yeah, I pretty much say it in the same tonality as Deku. It sounds like they're going to be doing some construction next door. Hopefully that doesn't interfere with the audio too much. Anyways, it's probably going to interfere with the audio. I'm going to take one of those mats and cover a door in 5 minutes. They're sawing something. I don't know what's going on. So now I might have to speak a little bit louder. Anyways, so for today, I can be a hero that inspires others. That's all I want for my affirmation. So I write that one most days. I can be a hero who inspires others. So, with that said, that's the part of the morning routine that is the thinking man's sort of side of it, thinking person's, And that's going to help me clear my head first thing in the morning and get focused on the good stuff. Well, that's good. I'm glad. Is anybody hearing power tools? Wendy says somebody is fortifying their apocalypse bunker, and she is not wrong. I am going to take one of our big panel mats and put it against the door and hopefully block out some of the sound. We'll see if that works while I fortify my own apocalypse bunker. Hey, Brett, when you get a chance sometimes, if you can keep an eye on the Instagram feed on your own phone and see if anybody's commenting on there, I'm really happy to be sharing this with you all. Yeah, there's Matt's help. Oh, okay, don't do that because I'm going to be talking and we're going to hear me, and that's even more narcissistic than I like. So, all right, all that being said, oh, Becca and Wendy, you guys are bright in the morning. Let's get into the physical side of things. It is 9:18, so I'm actually on time. Wanted to do the non-physical side first, really in depth, just to let people kind of find that this was happening and jump in. And also, talk through kind of what my process is. So the next step, I'm actually adding a piece that I don't usually do every morning, I'm not going to lie, but I've realized especially recently that I need to. I woke up last week with a neck injury. I woke up with a neck injury. I woke up with a neck injury. I didn't go to bed with a neck injury. I didn't go to bed with my neck hurting. I woke up and I couldn't move my head this way or tuck my chin, which as a stunt guy, I really need to tuck my chin, so that was a problem. That was last week and it's gotten better since, but what it also reminded me is that I've been training people a lot, but I haven't been doing that on stretching routine. So I really want to get back into that real quick, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a reiteration of what I refer to as the top-down check-in. Most recently I did a private session with Becca, where we did a version of the top-down check-in after working out. You can do this before or after. It can either be a warm-up or a cool-down. And what I stressed was that you're an adult most likely. I don't have any child students right now, and my market mostly is around adults. And if you're coming to me and you're an adult and you like to stretch and warm up, I'm not a contortionist, and I mean that professionally. That's one of the highest end physical skills you can have. And I'm not a kinesiologist. I don't have a degree yet. I'm thinking about it, but for that kind of body warm-up sort of thing, we all do have an understanding of our own bodies. So when it comes to the stretch routine that I'd like to start everybody on, it's kind of more of a guideline. It's kind of more set of a guidepost. It's an outline. You fill it with what exercises you need. We're just going to go through the process top down, so from head to toe, and then maybe a little bit of floor work. I'm going to start, I want to see what it looks like if I stand up. Am I in the full frame? Great, that's the best part about the vertical slice on Instagram. So the first thing I'm going to do for my top-down check-in, and what I mean by make this your own experience is, I will tell you what I do, but you should focus on things that you need to feel. So for me, I'm going to start with my head and neck. I'm going to just dip my chin down and let gravity do the work. I'm really strained right here, so I actually don't want to add pressure with gravity by putting extra weight with my hands is what I mean. And then I'm going to put my head to the side. You can totally do circles. You can shake your head back and forth. You can roll through. Make sure that you at least try and drop your shoulders down every once in a while. You don't want to crunch up too much. We'll get to that later if you want to. But just work on loosening up your head and neck in whatever way works best for you. Whether that's looking over the side of your head, whether that's looking down, whether that is putting your hand on your head and pulling it. Everything that we do with these top-down check-ins, you want to try and focus on each area for maybe a minute. So it's going to take up to 10 minutes. Next, I'm going to focus on my shoulders. I really like to just shrug. It's a muscle group, and then pushing back down. I also really like to shrug because then that tells my body, by coloring in contrast, that I can drop my shoulders. So if I bring them up and fill them with that kind of tension, and then I push the tension in the other direction, I can feel more of a full range of motion. I'm going to also crunch forward and crunch back. So this is more like shoulders and chest now, but I'm working on that kind of forwards to backwards sort of plane. And now with all that in mind, I'm going to roll. And when I roll my shoulders, I like to focus on both of those feelings of both the shrugging up and the pulling and the pushing. So I get that whole circular feeling. I'm not just doing that. I'm going all the way through the chest and back. And then I'm going to go out to my arms. I'm going to relax the elbows a little bit so that they're not straight out like that just yet. And I'm just going to make big circles. And one of the things that I really like to do is I like to start extending the fingertips out and pressing out almost like an Iron Man repulsor blast. So, and again, now I can start crunching the chest and pulling it back. Oh lordy, I needed that really badly. You can do small circles. You can do big circles. And you can do really big circles. And again, once you feel that bigger circle, make sure that you're kind of connecting the chest and the back to the exercise. It seems simple and it seems silly, but I mean, I literally just like felt like my body just go, because when I sleep, I'm very bunched up, I think. I really like to be I'm like a hugger or, I'm like curling into the side. I like sleeping on couches because they're really small and compressed and I feel like I'm just tucked away. So in the morning, I really need to open up. Now I'm just going to put my hands on my hips. I'm actually working on the rib cage and the chest, the top of the spine. What you'll see is that I'm not moving my hips just yet. I'm moving everything above them from the waist up. That way I'm just pushing myself along in a circle. And you go back and forth and you feel it out however you want. And again, if you want to move in a different way, if you want to move in a different pattern, it's your body, do what you want. I'm going to be taking a very Bob Ross approach to this. It's your world. It's your imagination. You can put the tree wherever you want to put the tree. All right? Next, I'm going to just go with the hips. Super simple with the hips. Simple, but the most important. This is one of the few ones where I'm going to be like, yeah, you should probably do it the way that I'm doing it. And by the way that I'm doing it, what I mean is, this is how it's done. Like, I can't imagine a different way to rotate the hips. It's a single gigantic hinge, and we need to just work through it and go back the other way. Now that you can do figure eights, it's an option too. And then eventually we'll talk about twisting, but I really talk about twisting in the context of the spine. Then we're going to go to the knees, and we're going to push down through them. Now, one of the things that I try and educate my clients on is my idea of activation. I'm not saying it's my idea, I'm just saying it's an idea that I agree with. I don't like to do things like the knee rotations just with the feet coming up off the floor. So if I'm here, the feet just kind of moving. I like to really press my feet down into the floor and think about doing the knee rotations from the ankles, so that I'm actually stretching the ankles through the knee and I'm feeling the pressure of my feet pushing into my knees, because honestly, that's how your body's going to work. It's all about how it's pushing off of the ground. So I'm going to go the other way. This will make a lot more sense when we get to the ankles, but keep this idea in mind. The next thing I'm going to do is we're going to go to the ankles. Now, again, this is where it really makes a lot of sense. If I put my foot on the ground and I keep my weight, if I put the foot where I'm going to be stretching, toes on the ground, and I keep my weight in the posted leg, then I could literally just be doing my ankle stretch like this, which is great. And everybody should probably do that from time to time. Also, it's a fun little balance exercise. But if I put my posted foot on the ground, and then I put some weight into the foot that I'm about to stretch, and then I push away from the ground, I'm actually activating the ankle a little bit more. I'm really working into the calf, and I'm pressing off the ball of the foot into the whole structure of the leg, all the way through the knee, all the way through the hip. This is important because that's how we're going to be interacting with the ground. We're going to be pushing off of it. I really love to communicate this idea back and forth with my dance friend, Victoria. She's an amazing floor dance artist. She pretty much talks about how you come out of the floor in her style, and it's amazing. I'm going to just do that with the other foot too. So now by activating, I'm actually waking up, I'm forcing the body to be like, okay, we're going to put some pressure on this. Activation is probably my favorite word in working out. It's much more my favorite word than like pumping up or, that's not a word, but you get the idea. Great. Lastly, top-down check-in before going into floor work. I don't know if we're going to go into the floor work today just because I want to keep moving along. Now we're just going to do some basic spinal twisting. So now that you've moved yourself all around, shake it out however you want to. For me, I'm going to just look like a giant crazy person. Being a wacky waving inflatable arm flailing tube person is really a great way to just have some fun with it. Breathe in and just shake it out however you want. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to first lock my feet down, lock my hips down, and just start with the waist, just turning back and forth. In Qigong and Kung Fu and stuff, there's this idea that if you slap the body in a certain way, you might be releasing toxins or shaking the internal organs up. Honestly, I think it's just a great motion generator. I think it's a really great way to feel your own connection to your momentum. But I don't mind the idea that slapping my kidney might be getting a little bit of that Yingling contaminant out of my system from last night. Thanks, Brett. Now we're going to do the same thing, but we're going to come all the way down to the hips. And when we come all the way down to the hips, we are going to want to twist our feet a little bit. So doing that nice little twist back and forth. You don't have to do the body slaps if you want to. You can just reach your arms out. Just be light about it and build up as you go. Slapping yourself first thing in the morning is also sometimes an easy way to wake yourself up. Just pop, you know. All right, and then I'm going to do a third variation where I'm kind of going more side to side just to wake up the lateral feeling of the body rather than the twisting one. And it's going to also activate the ankles in their lateral plane. I can also bounce up and down with this one if I want. I can bounce up and down with all three of them. But it's just more sources of motion. All right, and then once you're done with all that, we're going to prepare for my first part of working out. So take a second. Stretch yourself out. The next part's not going to be terribly exciting for most of you, but we'll talk about it in a second. I'm going to refresh my coffee. It'll take me about 45 seconds to do so, maybe a little bit less. I'm not going to break the broadcast. Brett, if you need to get up and go anywhere, please, by all means, feel free to. But everybody take a minute. If you want to get your own cup of coffee, if you want to get some water, this isn't going to be a hardcore workout. This is part of my routine. I also, again, I believe if you're an adult, you have the right to get up and go and do your own thing when you want to. I'm going to be going through my thing. I'm just inviting you to join me on my little morning journey, as it were. So I'll be back in 5 seconds. What do we say to the god of death? But first, coffee. I am mixing my metaphors, or my memes. Let's look at the chat to see if anybody's been saying anything. Oh, hey Jason, wow. Thanks for joining, bro. This is wonderful. I'm really appreciative of anybody that's jumping in. I haven't been able to look at the Instagram comments. Have people been saying anything?
I've only really had a between 1, 2, maybe 3 people.
Okay. That's cool.
It's fine. People go pick one.
I think the Facebook is going to end up being the optimal source just because of the framing, but we'll try and figure out something more fun with Instagram eventually.
Yeah.
Maybe with the Instagram Live, we'll just do certain parts of the workout routine as opposed to the whole video. The other cool thing about Facebook Live is that's going to auto-record all of it, so we're going to have this as a video that we'll put on YouTube later. And I totally forgot to email everybody, but I only tried to set up YouTube Live yesterday, and apparently it requires a 24-hour window for them to approve your account. So that's why we're not streaming YouTube today, and my initial email to all the clients was, hey, we're going to be on YouTube, so hopefully you guys got your notifications on Instagram and Facebook to join us, but we will have stuff on YouTube soon. So, hey Josh. Oh man, Josh, I saw that video of you throwing those knives. Dude, knife throwing used to be my thing. It's not really a thing you do in New York City as much, but it used to be my thing. And let me tell you, as somebody that made that like my thing, you're really good at it, probably better than me. You gotta send me some pictures of what your knives are, dude. Alright, step next. So this is gonna be a little complicated, but I'm going to set up the timer. Abra actually was nice enough to let me borrow her phone while she's still getting her sleep going. and I'm going to set up Boxing Timer Pro, which is my favorite app for workout scheduling. So it's this little boxing glove. When it comes up, it looks like this. Anybody that's done a private session with me knows that I use it. And I'm going to set 6 rounds. And I'm going to set those rounds for, today we'll do 45 seconds each just to kind of get through this. And then I'm going to set my rest periods for 15 seconds. So this is going to be a nearly 6-minute set of exercise where what we're going to focus on is you can honestly pick whatever you want to do. You can hold a position, you can jog in place, you can do push-ups. It's a kind of Tabata. But for me, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be doing planks. Now, even though I'm a physical movement coach, I like to kind of do very explorational planks. My planks are designed to hit key attribute parts of my body that I want to work on. So primarily, I focus on really firing my pecs and the backs of my legs for one set. And then I also focus on, in order to get my core going more, I'm going to do my plank from elbow. So before you see what I do, I'm just kind of explaining that I have a specific way of doing it that has been helping with certain attributes that I want to develop. A plank is not a plank is not a plank. A plank is a holded pot, a held, holded's a word, is a held posture that just really, this is going to be a willpower thing, but again, activation is going to be the primary focus. The other thing that I'm going to say before I do this is, y'all are about to be really annoyed with me probably, but I do these to motivational videos. Typically I'll do them to Arnold Schwarzenegger's speech, but we'll get to that at some other session. I like to go on YouTube and find like Motiversity or something like that and just press play, just so that if my brain starts going into any negative space, somebody's yelling in my ear something positive or something affirming. So I'm going to have that on quietly via my own laptop to the side, and hopefully it won't chug down the Wi-Fi. There are rest rounds, and I'm going to be alternating between the high plank and the low plank. So I'm going to, did this stop working? No, it's still working. Great. I'm going to set this up. I'm going to start it playing. I've already listened to this video before, so hopefully there's nothing offensive coming through it. Sometimes motivational speakers like to have, as Craig Stanley would put it, potty mouth. But really, to me, it's just about having affirmational stuff. Plus, a lot of times these videos are edited with that epic music stuff that I really like, so it kind of keeps me going. The prepare time for this is going to be 30 seconds, just so that I can kind of set my brain up to start playing with it. So what you'll see is I'll actually, and I keep my coffee nearby in between rounds, I'll set up this weight right here so that you guys can see the timer. I don't go off of what I see, I go off of what I hear. Obviously in the video I'll probably be able to see what I'm looking for. So, alright. Is Facebook working? Can you all see me? Alright. Is it, how much time do I have left? Oh my gosh, I have like 10 seconds left. So, for my plank, for my high plank, I put my hands down at shoulder width, I put my feet way back, and then I push up, and then I squeeze my chest, and then to focus on also building up some neck strength, I look forward. Some days I'll hang it down, but right now I'm really trying to rehab my neck. So what I want you to think about if you decide to do the posture in the way that I'm doing the posture is it doesn't look like a traditional plank, but what I'm really focusing on is I'm squeezing into the earth. I'm pushing against it. It's almost like doing a bench press into the ground. And then I'm really trying to focus on staying in my parasympathetic nervous system by not stressing about this. Even though I'm holding tension, I'm relaxed. Alright, round one, pretty easy. I can get through round one in my sleep. Some mornings I almost literally do. Round two, we're going to switch to plank from elbow. That way I'm activating my core a little bit more and working on that shred. I like to move my elbows out just a little bit so that that balance point isn't directly under me. And then again, I like to push into my tailbone, push it down, elongate the head of my head, the crown of my head, and then push all the way through my tailbone, trying to keep it as straight as I can. And again, right now, I'm working on strengthening my neck. So one of the other things I need to do is I need to rock forward just a little bit to make sure that I'm pulling my shoulder heads back so that I'm not crunching up. And this is actually kind of cool. I'm seeing myself on the live feed, so I'm actually kind of checking my form as I go. That's moderately awesome. Oh boy. I swear, for some reason, plank from elbow is way harder for me than the high plank, and maybe that's something that all fitness nerds know that I just don't know, but it's driving me nuts. Let's get ready for round 2. I mean round 2 of the high plank, not like round 2 of round 2. This is technically round 3. Oh. I think Joe Rogan's talking about laziness. I'm sorry, I still don't understand the whole Joe Rogan thing, but sure, why not? Now I'm starting to feel it in my arms. I'm kind of doing a 3-point press. Both my hands and then my feet are acting as one unit. Pressing away from the ground, activating, energizing. Full body activation. Are there people on the IG?
Couple people.
Cool. Seeing some friends on the Instagram. Maybe you all are doing some stuff on the Facebook. Back to the next round. I promise this is beta day, so I'm like constantly checking the feeds and everything, but going forward we'll probably focus more on the workouts rather than talking about all this stuff. I understand the need to be mindful while you're training, but who am I kidding? I kind of did this to be a little bit social, right? Oh, man. It's only 45 seconds, but staying in it, not being loose or lazy right now, this is where we actually work on that kind of firm and activated mentality. This has been changing my life for the last 3 months. Yeah, I mean, I can't recommend anything more than like holding a posture first thing in the morning, because especially this way, like I feel like my whole body has to turn on to do this. I'll go the other direction. Poor Brett's so bored right now, he's like pacing in the background. But I mean, that's what producers do. Don't get me wrong though, he's one of the few humans on this planet that I genuinely fear. So now my chest is really activating into this posture hold. It's not my arms, it really is squeezing at the pecs. Squeezing together. Almost like I'm crushing something, I'm crushing into the earth. And that's where the vibration comes from. We're more than halfway done now. I don't know, what round does it say on the clock? Round 5. 5? Oh, we're almost done. Elbows. Jeez, with you guys watching, I'm not even really paying attention to the motivational videos. Just having you guys around is like, I better be doing this. Even this light amount of work, I'm already starting to break a sweat, and it is cold in this basement. Oh, yeah. I'll stretch out just a little bit more. Again, my form might not be perfect. Your form might not be perfect. A professional's form might not be perfect. It's not about form, it's about feeling. Obviously, form is important, but if you don't feel something, you ain't doing it right anyways. Oh, wow. That's one of my favorite sounds in the world every morning. You're done. for a second. Let's check in with everybody. We've only got 15 minutes left, which is enough time for me to finish my 2 other workouts. We'll keep that timer there. Did anybody do anything? Anybody try anything like that or try what I was doing? Leave me some comments. It'd be nice to see what you all are working on. Give myself like 20 seconds to before I go into my next exercise. My next exercise, by the way, y'all are going to love watching because it's going to be silly. Let's see who's... I don't even know. Is anybody watching this? I don't know how this works. Oh wait, we got 4 people. That's where the icon is. Okay. Oh, we've got 4 eyes on it, so that's really nice. Wendy says she did a couple of planks, but she's also trying to work at the day job right now. I'm assuming that's remote work. Great. You know, anybody that's on like I'm not saying you are, but if you're in like a call center sort of job and you can hold a plank while doing your call center work, that would be cool. Becca says, did them along with you. Thank you. It was awesome. Well, thank you. You know, Becca is a super hard worker and we're really glad that she's part of our community. Hey, Josh. That was a good little workout. Okay, Josh. Josh, you young guy with your amazing abs that I wish I had when I was your age. I think maybe I did when I was doing Kung Fu, but we're going to challenge you with the next one. Probably not that much of a challenge, but we're going to try it. Alright, well, Wendy, this one will probably be easier for you to do while doing your job, so let's do this one then. And again, what we're about to do, no one has to do exactly what I do, but you're welcome to join me and try it if you want. We're going to do the same amount of setup, but I'm going to drop the round time down to 30. I do more typically, but again, I kind of want to expedite this today. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do my Savate Leg Holds. These were inspired by Silver Glove coach Greg Zanata, who's both from Dickaburg Academy and Kensho Martial Arts in Chicago. He is a competitive Savate fighter. One of my major goals is to go into a Savate competition in the next couple of years, hopefully in the next year itself. Coached by one of these guys, and I don't care if I win or lose, I want to play Savate. And the app closed. So I don't even need to explain this before doing it because this is so simple. Greg says he does it while brushing his teeth. I'm going to stand back, and when the buzzer goes to the first round, I'm going to literally hop on one foot. That's it. Now, I'm going to hold my knee high in kind of almost a Kung Fu posture. So, Christian, you better be watching this because this is helpful. But one of the main differences with that hopping on one foot, I'm going to be activating those tiny little bouncy muscles. So I'm not just holding the pose, I'm actively kind of generating a little bit of motion. And for me, I'm also going to hold my guard up right in front of my face. So I'm practicing on unconsciously keeping my guard up. So it doesn't really matter how much I express the hip rotation right now. My goal is just to try and keep this leg up and activated throughout those 30 seconds. So I'm also going to get to feel it in my obliques just a little bit. You can hop around this much too if you want. Good, you take a break. You wait the 15 seconds and then we go to the other leg. Let's keep going, everybody. This would also be like a good time to like just do some squats. So now I'm on the right leg. Woo! Shake it out. Shake it out. Now I'm letting the lower leg relax right now. I'm just focusing on keeping this knee up from the hip socket. So I can raise it as high as I want, or I can keep it at hip height and focus on the core a little bit more. Again, these are one of those things that you feel out as you go. Again, Greg does it while brushing his teeth. 30 seconds, 30 seconds. I'm never going to forget that. Good, relax. I'm actually going to throw some squats into the intermediary round, just so I can keep warming up the hips a little bit. I go pretty ATG when I'm doing body weight. That's totally your call. So on the middle round, what I like to do is I like to extend the heel up
And now activate the whole leg just a little bit. I'm not trying to hold it out. I'm just trying to hold it up just a little bit. Have that loose whip-like feeling that we're going to want in our spot kicks. Bounce, bounce, bounce. Looking at my form. I'm trying to keep my torso straight up as well. I don't want to be leaning out one side or the other. I want to have a clear and consistent guard, and I want my base of support and my head to be in line. All right. Squat it out. You know, talking and doing this requires way more cardio than not talking and doing this. Hopefully the next time we do this, I'll shut up a bit more. Now again, activate the lower leg. So the heel just has to press out. It doesn't have to raise up. It just has to press out and bounce, and keep that guard. And keep that guard. And bounce. You can jump around. But again, we're not trying to hold it static. We're trying to feel that little, almost ballet muscle movement. I'm not a bar teacher, but I know that the hardest workouts are the smallest muscle groups. All right, cool. Just a way to activate the legs first thing in the morning. So, we have 2 more rounds, 1 for each side. All we're going to do now is we're going to do the same basic hold, or you can alternate. So, I can do the basic hold from the first round, or I can try and start doing a little bit of a kick with it. Not to generate momentum. The momentum still needs to be generated from the bounce, but just to kind of feel out that holding power. And I can't kid you enough, having this guard up is going to make your balance way stronger, because you're going to get used to letting your torso hold your balance for you rather than flailing your arms out around like our favorite wacky waving inflatable arm flailing tube guy. It's going to really help you use your core to maintain your balance. Alright, legs out, and I can bounce it a little bit if I want. Bounce it up and down for a little bit of a challenge, keeping this in the same point of posture. Also bouncing a little bit through the root leg so that you're constantly in motion, because the bot is an art that's done in motion. And, oh boy, don't worry, we get to chill out after this. Okay. Alright. And everybody's favorite sound. We'll take 1 minute before we go into the next and last part of the physical side of the morning routine. And I definitely want to end this at 10 because I want to end it at time. And Dash has reserved SAGA Studios for 10:30 for his cardio workout, so I need to get out of space because we're sharing it. Oh boy. Yeah, talking really raises the cardio. Maybe I should just talk more. My breast's giving me a smirk. You really are like the camera guy in Bob Ross's videos. He's always like being like, and he's going to get mad at me when I flip the paint over there. And the cameraman just gets mad at me all the time. Someone say something?
I'll tell you later.
Okay. All right, so let's talk about active stretching. Again, I'm not a kinesiologist. I am not going to claim to be an absolute expert. But one thing that I know is that if you want to practice something physical, having a timer is a huge help because it gives you a standard to keep kind of sticking with, and it gives you a chance to be aware of how good you're getting. In CrossFit terms, that is as many rounds as possible or as many reps as possible, your AMRAP. But really what we're trying to focus on here is just consistency and giving your brain a break from trying to figure out whether or not you've done enough. So we're going to do the exact same amount of time on the exact same app with the exact same timing. I know that's a brilliant way to communicate it, but and we're going to do this for stretching. And I kind of developed this method on my own, but it's supposed to be a reflection of what we just did, stretching the leg back out after activating it, and then activating more through the back. So I'm going to start it. I'm so glad I have coffee. And what I'm going to do before it starts is I'm going to spread my legs out, so I know that this is super attractive. Just like Judi Dench and cats, apparently. And I don't have to start by going as hard as I can. I can start by making it a little bit loose. So you can relax it on the first round. And what we're going to do is on each round, we're going to go to a different side. So I'm going to start with 30 seconds. I go to my left first because my left leg, the hamstring's a little tight right now because I did a photo shoot with a lot of kicks. But also B, my left leg is my stronger leg. So I'm going to be like, hey, left leg, thanks for taking care of me. Let's take care of you first. Not that I dislike right leg, but the right leg can be a pain in the butt sometimes. And then on the rest rounds, what we're going to do, and I'm going to finish this round first before I quit. On the rest rounds, we're going to go to the center and just, again, see this bobbing motion that I'm doing? I'm not just trying to actively sink into the posture or passively sink into the posture. I'm trying to actively find my way through it. And then on the next round, I go to the right. One arm up, one arm down. Now, you can do this like this. You can do this like this. I like to do it like this because then it stretches that side of my body, the other side of the obliques in the back. Also, I really like reaching my arm all the way out of the socket. If I kind of feel my foot, if I can give myself a foot massage while stretching, that's really nice. All right, almost there. Really easy. And back to the center. And again, part of this bouncing stuff is we're constantly kind of staying in this mentality of associating our core with our movement. If I'm not moving my legs and my arms too much, but I'm bouncing with my core, I'm keeping it engaged. And if I keep it engaged, then I start thinking that all my motion comes from it. So like my buddy Kai says, all movement comes from the center, all motion comes from the center. And that's Central Motion Martial Arts out in Houston. He's one of my CLOT advisors and one of my internal advisors, and he's like a good guy, and he knows about getting that body to wake up first thing in the morning. You should check him out. He's also the representative from Pangla SAGA in the US, which is Chechep Arif Rahman's system. The last time I went to Houston and I trained with Kai, I got to go to his morning Tai Chi classes, and oh my goodness, I felt so fresh every day I was there. Spent like 2 or 3 days with him, and every morning I'd wake up and then we do like a little bit of a routine, and I was just glowing every day. It was great. It's good to have friends that encourage you, to just feel better. Sometimes you don't even need to talk through a problem. Sometimes you just need to do something positive and let that sink in. All right, back to the center. Bouncing just a little bit more. You can possibly be opening up a little bit more now as you've loosened up into it. You really want to feel where those places of tension are and explore them when you can. But you also want to just, I'm not breathing as much because I'm talking, but you want to be able to breathe in and out and let that loosening sort of occur naturally. Think about also pressing the back of your knee to the floor. That's going to activate that stretch even more. And let that leg stretch as you go. I personally don't care whether you're pushing or pulling your toe. Right now I'm letting that relax a bit because I'm focusing more on my core, but you have your options. Alright, back to center. Should be one more round after this, I'm assuming. Oh boy. Now I can get really low. Force it. Just push through a little bit more. And to the right. Oh, yeah. So again, this is kind of just supposed to help undo whatever tension I put into my body by doing those Savate holds. And also just help me get more flexible over time. As a lot of the coaches in Savate say, flexibility isn't a requirement of being a good saboteur, but it helps. And we should all be stretching a lot more. Or at least I should be. You guys choose how you want to do it. I'm just doing it my way. Alright. Shake it out however you want to. Roll through it, flow through it. I like to go to my S sweeps. Is that still going?
It stopped.
It stopped?
Instagram stopped.
Can you hit it again? Maybe it just stops after an hour.
Yeah, just either share the story or delete video.
Share the story.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know if we have that many people on Instagram, but let's give it a second to catch up. Is it going to let you start again?
I don't know.
Oh well. Well, maybe our Instagram audience is just going to have to migrate over to Facebook. All right. So, when did it stop?
Just now.
Oh, cool. At least it got through my stretch. We've got one more little simple exercise. It's not really an exercise, and again, it's not something I've been practicing on my own for a while. But it's something that comes from my original arts of Kung Fu and Tai Chi from my teacher. His title is Fundi. His name is John Weeks. He now runs 2 CrossFit gyms in Montgomery County, Maryland, and they're awesome. If you've ever had any doubts about CrossFit, I agree with a lot of those doubts, but if you train at his facilities, you're going to think people are crazy because the way that he runs his gyms, you will get strong, you will stay safe, and you will grow as a person, not just as a WOD champion. He was my Kung Fu and Tai Chi teacher, and one of the first things he ever taught us was a position called hold the ball. He would do this with a lot of first-time students. This is going to be really boring for you kids at home. I'm not going to try and talk through this one. This is the meditation side, and I am not a huge proponent of meditation. I don't do it nearly as much as I should. That's part of why I'm integrating this into this training right now. But what I'd like to communicate in regards to this is that I'm going to be trying to make this a much simpler, cleaner version of meditation. You can do whatever you want in terms of posture. You can sit comfortably. You can sit, yogically, if you want to think about it that way. You can sit like a Seiza, Japanese sort of seated position. You can hold plank. You can hold downward dog. I'm going to hold the ball, which again is a Kung Fu and Tai Chi pose. And again, I apologize to Fundi John Weeks if my form is off. I also apologize to Fundi Janet Thomas because, I better do it right by her accounts. But I'm going to try my best. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to spread my feet to just shoulder width apart. I like to think about shoulder width apart as if I drop my hands down, my legs don't go outside my fingertips. It's the easiest way for me to get shoulder width. If I want to go outside shoulder width, it's the inside of my thighs. And then what I'm going to do is, and I'll go a little catty corner for this, is I'm just going to bend at the knees softly, activate the spine and raise the chest, raise the hands up, pull the shoulders back just slightly, energize the biceps and the elbows just a little bit. And I'm going to raise my head up and let my chin tuck under. So you're not going to see that too well on this frame, but we'll talk about it some other time. My fingertips are going to be pointing towards each other. And what my teacher liked to say was you should imagine holding a piece of rice paper between them. So they're not touching, but they're very close. And then what I'm going to do is, before I close my eyes and everything, I'm going to explain this part. What I like to do is I like to circulate a number of breaths rather than worry about time, at least when I'm first getting back into practice. So I'm going to circulate 10 breaths. I'm going to go all the way from my nose, down my body, into my dantian, or my center of energy. It's really just down around the diaphragm and the navel. Fill it up. You can fill it up either all the way or 75% of the way. We'll talk about that practice another time. And I'm going to let it out. I'm going to do this slowly. Over time, those 10 breaths should be even slower. 10 is what we're going to go for. Just meditate for 10 breaths. I will quietly count them out just so that everybody's aware of what pace we're going at least on my end. You do you. That one doesn't count. That was me sighing. Ready? And 1. 2. 3. 4.
6, 7, 9. Now, to close out of this, we don't want to just all of a sudden shake out of it. We're going to do what my teacher referred to as change. So we're coming out of the meditative posture. What I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the fingertips down, relax the arms down, and now I'm just going to kind of tip forward from head to chest to spine. And as I lower to the ground, I'm going to just let the backs of my legs kind of just extend a little bit. I'm going to loosely let my fingertips and the backs of my hands, the backs of my wrists, my head all go down to the ground. And that's on the breath out. And on the breath in, I'm going to fill myself up like a balloon. Just a very slow balloon. As you're going to see, my legs are going to start bending again to allow my torso to come over my base of support, which is my feet. And then my head rocks up. And for this amount of time, we're just going to do 2 of these. My hands are already down now. I pitch my head forward. And I just loosely let gravity do the work, while still activating my root so that I don't fall down. Letting the breath out. Letting it all hang down. And then breathing in. When I get to the top of this posture, I'm just going to let everything settle in. Just a little bit of a dip. Come back up. After this, we would typically walk around for a little bit, but I'm going to sit down and enjoy the rest of my now lukewarm but still delicious cup of coffee. So, that's it for the morning routine. We went a little bit over time, as I want to do, but that was mostly because I wanted to just give everybody a chance to join in and see what was up. We didn't have too many technical difficulties. The Instagram account ended a bit early. I think there's an hour-long max on that. But we'll hopefully be doing YouTube soon, which I think lets you go for hours. Before I leave you, before I turn this off for today, does anybody want to share any of their experiences or any of their thoughts? We can chat for about, let's say 5 minutes. So, does anybody want to give me any thoughts? Any feelings? Yeah, compliments are nice that you had a good time, but what about you? What did you feel? And I mean that genuinely. I know I'm being really granola-y right now, but it's a morning routine. It's not a hardcore workout. It's not about pushing you anywhere except out of bed, maybe. But it really is just about, to me, what's really about is just allowing yourself to connect to yourself first thing in the morning. I'm going to sit here and chill. Give you a couple more minutes if you want to send in any comments. That was refreshing. Thanks. Thank you, Wendy, supporting us from all the way down in DC. Yeah, I really do like to think about this as refreshing. The last few months, I have been really struck with some really intense dreams. I don't want to say nightmares, but really vivid, really lucid sort of stuff that can put me in a kind of rough place first thing in the morning. So me personally, this isn't just a physical exercise. It's about totally just recalibrating my brain when I wake up. Plus the coffee helps. That's a really nice way to wake up. Thank you.
Thank you, Josh. It's really nice to hear that from you. Again, you're a really smart kid. I'm calling you a kid because you're pretty young by comparison to me. But when I say someone's a smart kid, that's a huge compliment because you didn't need all the years I need to get to where you are right now. I'm not saying you've caught up to me yet. I'm just saying take whatever information you feel like is useful from me and totally start turning it into your own thing. You've got a ton of experience. You're surrounded constantly by really high-level people. One day you could be, refreshing other people first thing in the morning, giving them a chance to wake up in a nice way from your own methods, from your own techniques, because you're a pretty smart guy.
Becca, I feel a lot more aware of my body than I have for about a week.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. I'm sure people are feeling a very odd mix of both claustrophobia and what's that one when it's outside? Agoraphobia?
Agora.
Yeah, because if we go outside, all of a sudden we're panicking about everybody around us. And when we're inside, we're panicking about being stuck inside. Those are complementary psychoses right now. And what they're going to do is they're going to cause a sort of hypervigilance that takes you out of your body. Now again, I'm not a professional psychologist or anything like that. I wouldn't claim to be. I am an enthusiast of the art because I've been working with the Psychotherapy Network for 8 years and I was very into psychology in high school. So I'll use a lot of those terms, of course, but they're also kind of common sense terms. When you're hypervigilant about the world around you, you're not connecting with yourself. So we got to make sure that we maintain that connection. We're constantly stuck in our phones right now looking at every update that comes up every 5 seconds about this thing that is kind of becoming a Rubik's Cube of frustration. We're just like, what's going to solve this problem? What's going to solve this problem? Unfortunately, we don't have that one kid that studied the manual that knows how to do it in 32 seconds. Hopefully that happens at some point. But sometimes we got to put the Rubik's Cube down and sit down and just think about ourselves. We're not trying to solve the cube, we're trying to solve us. Brett is going to lose his mind. But yeah, Becca, anything you can do, any of the training that you have, anything that we've ever taught you, just any day, do it and do it with breathing. Really connect to that physiology.
I'm gonna wrap this up in just a minute. Any last minute comments, any last minute communications anybody would want to throw out there? Any part of the routine that you liked? Any part of the routine that you might take into your own practice? Because you gotta remember, I might not be able to do this tomorrow. My internet might go down. The guys want to repair an AC unit today, so we might have to reschedule sometimes. This isn't going to be perfect, but I am going to try and make it consistent. It's up to you to find what works for you, and it's up to you to integrate that into your life. I'm just here to give you a couple of tips. Just gonna love what some people have said. Because I'm a tool. Alright, well that seems to be it for today. Feel free to comment on the video after it's posted if there's any moments that you really enjoy. And that's that. We'll be having a training session with Abra at 1 p.m. That'll be a lot shorter. She'll be doing her hardcore workout for about 20 minutes. She'll do about 10 minutes of tutorial, and then she'll probably do about 10 to 15 minutes of Q&A and hang out afterwards. At 7 p.m. we're going to be trying to run a SAGA Action Arts curriculum class. That'll involve the SAGA 9 template, a little bit of action flow, and definitely some S-Series kickboxing. Alright, the Super's here, so I gotta go deal with them. Take care for the rest of the morning, enjoy yourselves, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye for now. How do you stop this thing? Oh, I can't stop it from here, I have to stop it from there. Thank you, Brett. Love y'all. Stay safe.